Good morning. This is just a short video to go over question 1 through 5 on the math assessment, just so that we can get a basic understanding of where you need extra help on. If you're able to watch this video and still not able to understand the questions, how to do them, please let me know and I can work with you one-on-one after school or during one of my prep periods. So these math questions are designed to be reflective of what we do in chemistry. This way you can kind of get a little bit of an understanding of what is happening. There is quite a bit of math that happens in chemistry, and you should not feel like you have to always get it right. This is a learning process, so please take some time and have a little bit of patience. Don't feel bad about getting something wrong, and rather focus on what can you do correct next time. So for example, the first question here, what is 15% of 375? So what you want to do is type in the calculator 375, and you can multiply by 15%, but you need to remember that 15% is actually just equal to 0.15, because remember 15% is just another way of writing 15 over 100. The percent is per 100. So therefore, if you are able to get that part, you can kind of realize that it's just multiplying by 0.15, and you input that into the calculator, and what you're going to get. So you should be getting about 56.25. And I asked you to round it to the nearest decimal place, which means that you should round it up to 56.3, because you're dropping the 5, and that rounds up into the 2. So that is what you will need to do. So the short answer, the final answer should be 56.3. The second question is a little bit longer. It's more chemistry specific. In this case, it has provided you that benzyl alcohol has a mass of 108 grams, and that it has carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen in it, that they have their own respective masses. What you need to be wary about is, what is the total mass here? Because that is what I'm asking you. How much of it's oxygen by mass with respect to benzyl alcohol? So essentially, it's just going to be taking this number divided by this number. So it's going to be 16 grams divided by 108. The reason why that is because if you divide it by 108, that's the whole compound. 16 gram is just the oxygen, and that way you get about 14.8%. And that should be your final answer, because that top part again is the oxygen, and the bottom part should be the whole compound, which is the benzyl alcohol. Next up, you have the order of operation. This is just to test out to see if you know how to do the calculations for the orders of operation. So remember that the PAM in PEMDAS is parentheses, exponent, multiplication and division, then adding and subtraction. So this part needs to happen first, which comes out to be about 10, because if you add them up, 7.6 plus 2.4 should be about 10. The next part is if there's no sign in between these two numbers, then essentially it's a multiplication. So 9.11 times 10, and the 5.9 subtracting it in the front. In this case, it should be essentially 91.1, and 5.9 minus that number, which is equal to be about negative 85.2. And that should be your final answer. Next up is you're figuring out that the water to alcohol ratio is 4 parts water, 1 part alcohol. So there is a total of 5 parts. That's kind of a key assumption here, because 4 plus 1, that's 5 parts total. And out of that, 35 liters of it, how much of water is there? So you need to kind of set up 2 fractions to kind of get to it. So you know that water is 4 parts out of 5, and the solution is 35 altogether, the 5 parts, and so this is 5 parts, and this is the 35 liters. The top part should be how many liters as well, because that way you don't you need to figure that out. So this is the only time that you would need to cross multiply. So get 5x equals 4 times 35, which is 140. Okay, so 140, and therefore you can solve for that. Divide both sides by 5, and in this case, so the answer should be about x is equal to 28. All right, so therefore it's about 28 liters. That is roughly what it should be. All right, and last but not least, it's H equals C, C equals lambda, and I keep on wanting to say V, but it's not V. So that is the letter nu, the V looking like letter, actually pronounced nu, like N-E-W, but it's actually N-U. It's a Greek letter. So you have that equation, you have the speed of light, which is 3.0 times 10 to the 8th meters per second. And you have lambda, which is given to you in 385 nanometers. And I gave you the conversion factor so that you can convert it right away. So I would start there, because 385 nanometer, you can multiply that by the conversion factor of nanometers on the bottom, because that way nanometers can cancel out. 1 times 10 to the negative 9 meters. What you're going to get is going to be 3.85 times 10 to the negative 7 meters. Because of that, you have to also rearrange the top equation here, because you were trying to find nu, which is equal to lambda over c. No, c over lambda. I apologize. So it should be c over lambda. I apologize. So it should be the speed of light, 3.0 times 10 to the 8th meters per second, divided by 3.85 times 10 to the negative 7 meters. So the meters cancel out. What you're going to get is, it's going to be 7.792, but you should round it up, times 10 to the negative 14, 10 to the 14, rather. I apologize. So it should be 10 to the 14 divided by seconds, and that's the final answer. So it's going to be in a gigahertz range. All right, and that is the first portion of these math skills. Hopefully this video helped.